What's up, everybody? This is Logan Hanks on the Living Fully Loaded podcast. I'm joined by my good buddy and return guest, Brent Ruffin. If you got any questions on who this man is, you need to refer back to the previous episode where we go in depth on his hunting life and kind of his multiple failures as a hunter throughout the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Appreciate you joining me, man.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
So we're diving in. We're kind of covering a broad stroke of stuff tonight. And I want to give a disclaimer because we're going to touch on some pretty sensitive topics tonight. And Brent, he's been one of my good buddies for a long time, so I was like, yeah, he'd be a good one to dive on here. We're on the same page on a lot. So I said, I feel pretty good with this. So first, we're going to hit on some stuff, and I don't want people to think that we're hating on everybody. Like, for instance, we do talk about the Boogaloo at some point in here. If you don't know what that is, you'll learn, and I'm not going to get crazy on it right now, but I'm not bashing the people that we talk about. If anything, I hope that what we talk about with it actually kind of sheds a little light and makes them think like, man, maybe he's raising some good points, and maybe I need to, if I'm serious about this, maybe I ought to put a little more thought into my strategy and preparation. So that's kind of the route I'm going. And on some others, again, not hating. If anything, I hope that it kind of makes you think constructively on it. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Well, that in itself could be a topic. It's almost like you can't even really have conversations anymore. Yeah. I mean, where the heck is our free speech going? Yeah. Like it seems like these days, man, if you even try to bring up a different point of view, I don't know. It's just
well, I mean,
it seems like all hell breaks loose. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're wrong and that's offensive, and
yeah.
It sucks because I know there are some people out there that are trolls on the internet and people that are just kind of narrow-minded towards subjects and they're just they don't do enough research and they're not able to have logical conversations about stuff. But there are other people that do their research and look into stuff and I don't mean to sound all Eddie Bravo, but for real, you have to these days, man. You have to do your research, man. As powerful as the internet is, man, like you don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah, no, you don't. I mean, now, which it's funny because Facebook now has the like fact checker thing. Have you seen that on there? Which even that I question. Like, right. Yeah, it's this point. It's like, what is it? What do I actually believe on here?
Right.
And and actually, speaking of Eddie Bravo, I wondered did his world shatter when SpaceX saw the Earth? Because you
it has a very round shape to it.
It is not flat. But he's probably like, it's fake. That's fake.
Yeah. I don't. It's confusing listening to him sometimes because, man, when you listen to him, he sounds like such a logical guy. I mean, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He is. And heck, I've looked up to that guy for forever as far as jiu-jitsu goes. I mean, he's a freaking legend. And but then sometimes, man, he gets off on those tangents, and I don't know if he's trying to like ag people on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And or what the deal is, but dude, it's been proven so many times. I just legitimately don't understand how you can believe that the Earth is flat.
I think he just likes being like a conspiracy guy.
Yeah.
Because, he gets into like every conspiracy.
Right. I also think he's freaked out about everything.
Yeah. Yeah, he does strike, which is funny because like you said, I don't know why he's like a paranoid guy. Because, like you said, for one, he can handle himself well.
Right.
I mean, he's like.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily freaked out about anything physical. It's just freaked out. I mean, like government conspiracies and lizard kings and dude, that episode, the guy, such a legendary episode with Rogan and
Jones.
and Alex Jones, and then Eddie sat in on it, dude. God.
Alex Jones is the best, man. I love listening to him. He's freaking hilarious.
It might just be just because I haven't been paying attention enough, but I cannot believe we haven't heard more from him through everything that's going on.
Well, didn't he get banned off YouTube?
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think he got banned off of Twitter. Don't quote me on that. I think he got banned off of Twitter for a minute, too.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't agree with that. I think that's bull crap. I mean, I get it. Hey,
it's mass censorship.
It is, and that's now I hadn't looked into the latest little bill, but they're supposed to be passing a bill to stop that.
Right.
I hadn't looked into that, and I know somebody'd be like, "Well, it's privately owned," like talking about Facebook and stuff. Yeah. So I get that.
Well, that's what I mean, man. Like I don't want to dive off too far into this rabbit hole, but I mean, for real, that's just, where is our free speech heading? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like one side, if you don't agree with us, you're wrong, you're terrible, horrible people, all that kind of degenerates, but and the other side's the same. Whichever side you lean,
So. Well, no, and I want to go down that hole a little bit because, man, I was bummed out today. Did you see the Rock's video?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Man, the Rock, he's then jumped into like kind of the politics thing, and he had a long video, and it was like, "Where are our leaders?" And he was really, I mean, he was underlyingly calling out Trump. And I mean, I don't care, but I don't know what they want him to do. Right. Like they want him to quell the rioters and not protesters, but the rioters and looters. But they don't want him to bring in the military. Like, they're pissed off that he brought in the military. But then on the same hand, then they're saying he's not doing enough to like stop him. And what the hell do they want him to do? I mean,
you can't, dude. He's never gonna win.
Yeah.
As far as that kind of, I mean, no matter what the guy does, he's so controversial for one.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's dude. He could. I mean, I for real believe he could cure cancer, and whatever side. I really don't want to pinpoint one side, but somebody and people, they're going to have something to say about him, what he's doing wrong, no matter what. And that just comes with, I think that just comes with being in that high of a point of leadership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're never going to be able to please everyone. Everybody's, somebody's going to always have something to say. And I don't envy that position at all.
No.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, and dude, I get it because like I think I remember seeing like a video of like a long time ago of him saying that one day I'm going to be president of the United States.
Yeah.
But dude, this day and age, I don't understand why the hell you'd want that job.
No, I don't either. And it's funny. He's like the first one actually that's not aged like dramatically afterwards. Every president, have you ever seen that? Where he shows them?
Oh yeah.
And they like look like 15 years older.
Yeah.
And
it's a tough job, man.
It is. But he I don't know, man. He loves the like being in the pit. I mean, like that's like right up his alley. Right. And so I mean, yeah, he does a lot of things that I don't agree with, and he does a lot of things that I do agree with. But like, I just get annoyed with these people. Like, where are you now? And it's like, what do you want him to do? Like, if he told the cops to go out and start smoking these people, they would go berserk.
Right.
And if he tells them not to do anything, then they're like, he's not doing enough. Yeah. Like, I mean,
that's what I'm just saying.
No
like
win.
There's no win, and all this stuff is gonna have to. It's just gonna have to run its course. I mean, dude, 2020, it's already been a crazy year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already been insanity. And I think with it being an election year, I mean, I think it's just gonna have to. 2020 is just gonna have to run its course. I think all the way through it, man, it's just gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts leading up to the election, and it's gonna be nuts after the election.
Yeah. I mean, are they gonna debate? I keep waiting on the debates. I can't wait to see these,
dude.
If Biden gets to debate, I can't wait to see it.
I can't either, but man, I don't know. And I don't know who all is going to listen to this, man. And I don't, and anything we talk about tonight, like I'm not here to talk about anything that's going to overtly piss anybody off. But dude, Joe Biden clearly has dementia.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. He's not.
Have you
there.
ever? I mean, if you sit there and for real listen to the guy talk, like he can't form.
Yeah.
He can't form a full sentence. And I know Trump says crazy crap too in the sentences he says sometimes. Man, they're just straight up volatile. But,
Yeah.
You know, but still like, but it. You know, at least he can make some sense.
Yeah.
Dude, like, I know I've told you this before, but one of my favorite Joe Biden excerpts is when and I don't know where he was going with this. I don't know if he was trying to say, hey, fat ass or what, but it sounded like he just called the guy fat. Like,
hey, fat.
Hey, fat.
Yeah. Yeah, that is like my favorite.
He just said, hey, fat. Was it to like a reporter or something?
It was a guy like a town hall thing, and he was a fat guy. and yeah, he goes, hey, fat.
Hey, fat, you know? Oh, man.
He probably was going to follow that, but then I bet like it just in the split second there, his brain probably was like, wait a minute, you might not should say that.
Yeah.
But he also challenged a guy to a push-up competition. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the guy, it might have been that same guy. He asked him like if he was physically and I guess mentally in good enough shape to be president.
Right.
The guy was like, Joe was like, I'll do a push-up challenge right now. Come on, let's see who can do more push-ups. It's hilarious. And like I said, I'm not trying to make anybody mad. I don't care. I've never cared if somebody's a Democrat or a Republican, and I don't care. But be smart about whatever you are, and don't be the emotional responses is what drives me insane. Like Drew Brees, man, this killed me with Drew Brees, and
I already know where this is going. I had a bad feeling it was going to happen too.
That he would apologize.
Yep.
Yeah, I did too. But I was hoping he wouldn't because I've liked him in the past because he said stuff. He was pretty strong about like. He thought that I think there needed to be Bible classes in the school, like or take his Bible to school when he was growing up.
Right.
So he's a guy I like a lot of his values, and what he said. If somebody's listening, they don't know. He basically just said he didn't agree with them kneeling at the anthem, national anthem.
Well, and it was and Andy said something about just I think overall like disrespecting the flag.
Yeah.
Right.
And that like set people off because they thought he was basically crapping on the protest, and that's not what he was doing. I mean, like, as he said, pretty sure he said in there he like agrees with protests, but like, why? I mean, I don't know. And I've tried to ease back and see both sides because they're like,
it's that. I mean, I don't want to say he couldn't take the heat, but man, saying something like that in this volatile of time,
yeah. I knew he would catch some flack over it.
Oh, dude.
He was catching. Some of his teammates were like ripping him to shreds.
Right.
And old LeBron James, I don't even care what LeBron James said, but they were like sharing LeBron James, like saying he didn't know. I saw an article today said that Drew Brees was a racist, but he didn't even know it.
Right.
Like that crap.
Yeah.
It's like, just because you see the protest, in his eyes, them kneeling is disrespectful to the flag, it doesn't make him like a closeted racist or something.
Right.
So, I don't know.
That's such a tough topic, man. Like, I just, and it kind of, I mean, not worries me, but it just kind of, because I believe what I believe in, and I stand behind that. But, being two white dudes sitting here talking about this kind of stuff, man. I mean, like just us literally sitting here having a conversation about it, and just about the things that we've talked about so far. There's somebody out there that's going to be like, oh,
yeah,
they don't understand. They'll never understand. Two white guys sitting there talking about, you know what I mean? And it's just like, bro, I'm so over it, dude, man. It's just, and like you were saying, and I feel like Drew Brees meant, I don't know. I feel like he meant this, but I don't think there's any sane person that disagrees with the right protesting that's been done, and because the protests have been infiltrated.
Yeah, I mean they're honestly they've been ruined.
Yeah,
I mean
right,
and that's not being a racist or anything. I mean they've been hijacked.
Yep.
And one thing too I was going to say on Drew, he's actually, if he stepped off in it bad before, he really has now.
Yep.
Because you can't put your beliefs out and
Right.
then apologize.
Right.
Because now, all right, for starters, he had pretty much made the people on that side mad.
Right.
Now he's also made the people mad
Correct.
that were like with him to begin
Dude,
with.
at the point, man, it's kind of like, man, if you post it,
Just own it.
own
You
it,
gotta
man.
own it.
Yeah, just own it. Like, man, that's what I believe. That's what I stand by. Me personally, I have more respect for that. Like, I don't want to say double. I don't want to say doubling down, but like, but just like, holding your freaking ground
Yeah.
up. Like, hey, man, that's that's what I believe, and it's my right to believe that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's it's. I don't know, dude. I feel like I keep saying the word volatile, but it's just that's the only way I can describe these times, man. It just feels very, very tense.
Yeah, it is. It is. And real quick, I don't know if y'all can see the shirt. I got them in the store. I wanted to throw that out there. It says, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." And hopefully you know the quote. It's from one of the greatest movies of all time, The Predator. It's got the logo on the back. I don't know if you can see it or not. On the back up here, the American Huntsman. I wanted to throw that in there. Go get the shirt. It's awesome. High quality shirts. And that's theamericanhuntsman.com. Now, wanted to hit on the coronavirus, man. Where did it go?
Well,
hey, did you see the thing today that said it was kind of bragging on him, like George Floyd had a ton of people at his funeral.
right.
And they were like, just 2 weeks ago, nobody was even supposed to go to funerals.
Yeah, they literally.
Yeah.
Dude, there are some people like who obviously people have died during this, and some a lot from coronavirus or whatever
Yeah.
Whatever but they literally couldn't go to their family members' funerals. They had to watch their family member's funeral through like Zoom or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, bro, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And that, but and all these precautions and everything, and now you literally have thousands of protesters all
Just
together
packed in
and
there.
one packed, and nobody's saying shit.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened there. I mean, like, I don't know. I know we keep saying I don't know because it's such weird times right now. I mean, they're some of the weirdest times that I think weirdest times I've ever been in, and like the thing that has annoyed me with coronavirus has been the virtue signaling with some of that.
Right.
I've had some people like kind of, now. Well, I say now. I don't know where we're gonna be at now. I mean, I didn't know rioting would like clear up the coronavirus, but it was like shaming if you didn't wear a mask because then you were a butthole, didn't care about anybody else. That was the thoughts. And I mean, I'm not going to name any names. I don't want you to either, but like knowing people that work in the medical industry, it's in our area, it has not been what they thought it would be.
Right. But then you have all these reports coming out saying, oh, COVID has risen by 19,000 cases in places. And I mean, but who's running those numbers right now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and if you test, obviously they're going to go up.
Right.
Like, I want to know of those 19,000, how many are asymptomatic?
Right.
Because I've talked to a guy that we actually go to church together, and he had it. He had the COVID, didn't know he had it. His brother actually got it, and his brother went and found out he had it, did not know he had it, and then he went and got tested, and he had it, did not know he had it. Both of them were asymptomatic.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not – there's people that I know that have like a child that's got a disability or something,
Right.
and they're more at risk. Hey, I get it. Like be cautious. Be cautious. I mean, but also on that same hand, don't act like you're the only ones that has a high risk person. Every family probably has somebody that's high risk.
Well, listen, dude, if you're scared of it, stay home.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that's high risk, take care of them, make them stay home. But you can't you can't control everybody else's lives, and
Yeah.
and you know, and make it like that. It's gone on long enough. Like, I mean, I feel like everybody did I feel like most everybody did their part as
Yeah.
far, you know, as far as the quarantine and stuff. And like, listen, I get it. You know, there's a lot of people out there like, oh, you know, the quarantine's horse crap and this and that, blah blah blah. But man, we didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
You know, that we didn't know a whole lot about it. There weren't a whole lot of facts about it. Obviously, no real cure out there for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, obviously, yeah, we got to kind of lay low for a minute. But, you know.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But at this point, man, it's like, you know, more and more facts have come out that it's less serious. The death rate or the percentage is way lower than anticipated.
Yeah.
And another thing that's just that blew my mind about it is like, if somebody had a car accident and internal bleeding, died from internal bleeding, but they had COVID,
it was a COVID death. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
there's money in it. Doesn't the hospital get more money?
Yeah.
There's some weird shady deal in there where they get
Right.
more money.
Right. But see even the coronavirus is political ploy now.
Yeah.
Just like I feel like what we're dealing with right now is political ploy.
Yeah.
Do not take that as I'm saying that the protest and what happened to George Floyd is all political ploy. I understand how serious it is. I get it. Like I'm not trying to downplay it at all. But you can't deny that there. I mean, I don't.
You
know.
just don't know what. You don't know what to trust, and that's what it's unfortunate that we've gotten to that stage.
Correct.
There's no media, and I don't care if it's Fox News or CNN. Either one, I'm like, I know they're both biased in one way.
Right.
And I don't know of any news site that's trust and reliable. And I mean, now even, you know, the World Health Organization.
Right.
You can't even trust the crap they say.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I mean, so who the crap are you supposed to believe? And that's what is so hard. I mean, I wish we had a truly, like, unbiased. I don't want one.
We'll never get it.
No, we won't.
We'll never get it.
No, and I don't want it left leaning. I don't want it right leaning. I want like a but I don't know how it would happen.
In the country and state we live in now, and I'm a firm believer in this. But just the way that we live in the free world, as much diversity as we have.
Yeah.
We're just destined not to get it. Not everybody's not going to get along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's okay. Like, that's another thing that comes with our freedoms. You know, and that's okay. You don't have to get along.
Yeah.
But
that has gotten skewed.
Right.
Now it's you don't. Now you have to agree with everything.
Right.
And if you don't agree, then you're a bigot,
right.
Or like, I mean, you're automatically
right.
the enemy.
Yeah, well, that's illogical.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's all that comes down to. That's illogical, dude. I have extremely good friends that we do not see eye to eye politically.
Yeah.
I have coaches. I have training partners, like good friend that I consider good friends that we do not see eye to eye, and we can have conversations and stuff like that, and realize that we don't agree, and we just agree to disagree.
Yeah,
and that's the end of it.
And it's not hard to do that. I don't understand. That's what I'm saying, man. One of my friends from high school. He's a really good friend of mine. I could call him right now. He's a super good dude. He is complete raging hardcore opposite of me, and in a way it almost makes us friends,
right.
Because it's like, I don't know, he's the polar opposite of my thoughts,
right?
But yeah, and I mean, we've debated from time to time. We usually just reach a point where it's like we're just not getting anywhere,
right? So
let's just agree to
I
disagree.
mean, and the thing with that is like in realizing that you can have a logical conversation with somebody like that is, man, you might talk it out with them, and see a different point of view, or or might change the way you think about something. I mean, you never know, and I don't know, man. Just I feel like we're gonna need to name this podcast I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Hey, I will tell you this one thing, and I talked to Jack Carr about it in the last episode. And that is, if anybody's listening, you hadn't listened to that one, I wanted to shout out. That was a good episode. Jack was awesome. Not saying good on my part, but Jack was awesome, dude. And you just finished Terminal List.
Dude, I told myself I was gonna make sure and say this, dude. That was one of the best recommendations that I've ever, and that's the first audiobook I've ever listened to. And man, like, and I finished it in I want to say 3 days. Man, God, it was awesome, man. Like, for real, I can't wait to download the rest of his books, man. And after listening to y'all's episode, man, what a just inspirational dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just to have that mind to be able, that's always fascinated me, just to have that mind to be that creative, you know, to write, you know, and there's not a point in that book where it doesn't like have your attention.
Oh yeah, I mean, you never get bored.
Yeah.
Like I'm listening. I finished all 3 of those, and I mean, in the tractor, I listened to a ton of audiobooks and podcasts, and I'm actually listening to It by Stephen King now.
Okay.
I love horror, and I've been listening to it. It is long.
Yeah.
It's like 45 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, heck, even the movies are 3 hours.
Yeah.
The newest ones. They're both like 3 hours long.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, man, I commend the newest ones because they're pretty accurate to the book. I had never read it, read Salem's Lot and Pet Sematary and several others, but they're pretty legit to the book. But man, at times, and Stephen King is bad to the bone. But even at times there in his, I'll hit a dry patch.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't say that. I mean, Stephen King is one of my favorite authors.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's obviously a master at his craft. He's wrote like, I don't know how many New York Times best-selling books. But even I would hit a dry patch with his. Out of all 3 Jack Carr books, I never hit a dry patch.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always like pumped up for what's coming.
Right.
And I mean, he writes his characters so well. That's one thing I told him. And he makes the bad guys really well.
Right.
Like you'll enjoy the villains and True Believer. Let's see. Yeah, True Believer had Jules Landry, I think. He was one of my favorite bad guys.
Oh, okay.
Because he's just a terrible person. But, and like Jack said, he puts a human element to them. So they're not like, at the end, like one of them, you know, in the Terminal List, I don't want to say any names, you know, one of them, he's got like a wife and kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, there's kind of an element in there where you can almost sympathize with them a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, that one, I highly recommend those. And the dude that read it does a great job.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's a little like when he does the girl voices though, it's a little creepy.
It takes a little getting used to.
Yeah,
there.
it does. But I can't say anything because I don't think I would be able to do something like that. But yeah, it was like, you know, and I was wondering throughout the book, which I mean, obviously I know the more people you bring in, the more people you have to pay, this and that. But I was like, man, I wonder what the dynamic would have been like if you would have had like a voice for maybe not each character, but like if you had like a female voice in there and stuff, you know, and stuff like that. But no, the guy did a great job, and like I said, I finished it in like the Terminal List. I finished it in like 3 days.
Yeah. Oh, the Dracula is done with various people in it, and it makes it's almost like you're listening to the movie.
The movie.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool. But now by the time you finish all the books of Jack Carr, you've just like forgotten like about the fact that it's a dude trying to do a chick's voice, and you just have accepted it.
Right.
But yeah, I would definitely recommend that, and I wanted to throw that out there because Jack's awesome and the books are awesome. But that got me kind of hitting on the horror thing a little bit. And I was going to ask you, what's your best horror movie? I want a little light stuff in there. I want to kind of throw it in the mix to kind of break it up. What do you think the best horror movie is?
Best horror movie. Man, that's tough because I really enjoy horror movies, and I like horror books too.
Yeah.
I haven't read one in a while. I haven't really had a whole lot of time to do a bunch of reading here lately, but
well, I do a lot of audio books.
Right. If I'm trying to think off the top of my head, I feel like It is a horror movie, but I also feel like it's a thriller in the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of Stephen King are that way.
Right. But if straight up horror, dude, the movie that's always stuck with me I think it's called I think it's The Strangers.
With the masks,
Yes.
the people in the cabin. that
Yep.
come out? Yeah.
Yep, and and it's not so much like, I mean, because it was freaky. It is freaky, and
It's real.
That's what I'm saying. The reason that it is so freaky is how real it is. You know what I mean?
Now I don't know that it's a true story, but
Right.
yes,
I think it's is it based on true events? I could be totally off. I don't know.
I know at one time I heard it was based on the Charles Manson murders, vaguely, but now I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is, yeah. It could happen.
Yeah. Right. And that's my thing. Oh, what's another one, man? I would have to say that one has always stuck out to me, and I'm also a huge, which there's going to be a lot of people that probably they're like, that movie was terrible, but Silent Hill.
Yeah, I liked it, but it was freaky, man. That was the whole mood is creepy.
Oh man, and those are like my favorite video games playing up when I had a hard time playing those games by myself whenever I was a kid. I was just like, okay, I can do this, I can do it. Oh, I can't do it again.
Yeah. Why are those good, but then all the Resident Evil movies are terrible?
I don't know.
Because I loved Resident Evil.
Yeah,
but dadgummit, the movies suck.
I watched a couple of those not too long ago, and I was like, I'm enjoying this, but it's so bad.
It is, yeah. I mean, and I always have thought Mila Jovovich was strangely attractive from The Fifth Element when I watched her in that one.
Yeah.
But no, man, those movies are bad.
Yeah, dude. If I had to pick one, I would say The Strangers.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, Silent Hill. Like that's always been one that stuck out to me, and
that one is creepy.
And I really liked it.
Yeah. Now, I need to watch Strangers again. I hadn't watched it in a long time. Kit won't watch it. He will not. My brother-in-law won't watch Strangers. He hates that one.
Yeah. Why is it?
Because that one really freaks him out, and I think most people that are really freaked out by the Strangers, it's because it's so real.
Yep.
And I can, just talking about it, I'm picturing the scene when they're in the house, and I think it's before they realize that anybody's in there with them, and you just see the person behind them.
The guy, the tall white mask dude, God.
Yes.
That is hands down one of the freakiest movie scenes ever.
It is. That's like the standout scene I'll always remember. But now, for me, The Conjuring. Have you seen The Conjuring?
Yeah.
Man,
oh yeah, it's freaky.
That one is awesome,
It's
and
freaky.
there is my favorite part in that one is when the chick does the clapping game with their daughter.
Yeah.
And she's got the blindfold on, and she's like clapping. Her daughter claps, and you hear a clap come out of this room upstairs, and so the mom goes walking in there, and there's a dresser in there. I'm actually almost getting chill bumps talking about it. But the dresser doors ease open, and she hears it, and she's like, clap, and she grins, but she can't see. She's blindfolded. And you see two arms reach out from behind the clothes, and they clap, and then they go back into the dresser.
Oh man!
And the mom, she's like grinning, and she goes over there, and she digs into the dresser, and she's digging around, and then the little girl pokes her head in the doorway, and she's like, "He didn't find me, Mom." And the chick is freaked out.
It's I know the realization.
Yes.
Like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like creeping me out talking about it, but that one is great. I love The Conjuring. So I wanted to break up the crazy hardcore subjects with a little lightheartedness, some scary.
What if I had
talk.
said The Purge?
That would be fitting for the times right now.
That's what I'm saying. What if I had said The Purge?
I would have said you did not do well on breaking up the hardcoreness right now. Man,
oh man,
we're pretty much living the purge right now.
Oh yeah, I mean that's more of martial law crap, and God, dude, that talking about absolute chaos.
But all right, you talk about that. Okay, with the riots, and I saw today. You might have seen it. Did you see the dude standing outside? It was in Los Angeles, and they're looting and rioting out there, and he's got a double-barrel shotgun. And he's a big guy. He actually owns a gym. I think his name was Mindy or something. But he's this big, huge power lifter, and he's got a bunch of other big monster guys behind him, and the guy's actually interviewing him because he's standing on the sidewalk and he's got a double barrel under his arm. And the guy's like, "What are you doing out here?" And he said, I've worked my whole life for this gym. Right. And he said, I have, he was like a world level power lifter. And he said, I train like elite level power lifters. And he said, I've got insurance on this place. And he said, that's what everybody's like. Well, you got insurance. He said, yeah, but he said, this is my gym that I've built. And he was like, this is the gym that I built.
Right.
And he said, I can't wait 6 months while they rebuild this thing. So he was like, I'm here to protect it. And he tells the guy, he said, if somebody comes over here to loot it, he said, I'm going to shoot them in the head.
Right.
And I mean, he was like, the people doing this need to be put down. And so that's where, like, you know, we're in a weird situation. Like, what do you do? I mean, because I feel like the police are in a spot where right now they're almost scared to respond because they'll be considered a racist.
Right.
So how do you handle
hate crime, racists, you know.
So how do you shut
brutality.
down that? How do you shut down the rioting? Not the protests. And that's what I want us to continue to make this. Neither of us are against the protest. Like peaceful protesting, that is perfect. And I mean, you need to protest. I honestly think if it had not been an uproar, that cop probably would have got off scotch-free. I don't think anything would have happened. So I'm glad that it happened. I'm glad that the protest happened. But the rioting stuff's got to stop. So what do we do?
Oh man, it's a tough conversation because, you know, you have your side that's like, you know, you don't understand. We've tried peaceful protesting, that didn't work. We tried kneeling, that didn't work. We've tried all this kind of stuff to get attention towards this, that didn't work. So what are we left to do?
Yeah,
and it's hard. It's hard to speak on it, but you know, and I've had a lot of people that I've tried to have this conversation with, like throw Martin Luther King, you know, quotes at me and stuff like that. But man, and I've already said this to people. If Martin Luther King was, if he was still alive today, and he was the man that he showed himself to be or claimed to be, which I feel like he was. Yeah. I do not feel like he would be for what is going on.
No, I don't think
because
so.
I believe that the protests have been infiltrated.
Yeah.
And by Antifa or whoever else you want to, you know, people that just want to, you know, people that want an excuse to be freaking hoodlums.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it's been infiltrated by that. But man, destroying innocent people's businesses and hurting innocent people and burning people's vehicles, ripping people out of their cars, dude, it's not the way.
No,
it's not the way. It creates more division.
Yeah,
that right there has made more people pissed off. And now, you know what I mean? And now you're just, instead of trying to bring people together over what's happening, you're separating it.
Yeah,
even more.
It hardens people. That's what I've tried to argue, because there's a person that I've argued with a lot on this, and I'm like, because they said that they're not saying they condone the rioting and looting, but they understand it. Right. And I'm like,
the one of the biggest arguments is, well, all those things can be replaced. All those things can be replaced.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, yeah, like you said about the gym owner guy. Yeah, he's got insurance and stuff like that, but that's his gym that he's built and that he's grown on his own. And maybe he can. And there's people that can relate to this that have that have dealt with coronavirus stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. People have to pay their rent.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, and people, that's their only vehicle they have, and you've got jackasses out there destroying it.
Yeah,
dude, no, it's not the way.
No.
And I don't think any logical person, if they sat there and really thought about it, dude, it makes no sense.
No, and at this point, it has nothing to do with George Floyd.
Right.
None of the rioting and looting has anything to do with George Floyd. When I see a picture of the people, I don't care if they're black or white, because I've seen pictures of black people and white people with baskets loaded full of shit that they're stealing out of places.
Well, like I said, that stuff like that they're just using it they're just using it as an excuse to be hoodlums.
Yeah, and those people are cockroaches.
Yep.
They are just cockroaches. They provide nothing worthwhile to society, and that's what those people drive me insane seeing that. And again, it's been blacks and whites.
Right.
I have seen both sides doing that crap.
Right.
And I mean, it's just been mind blowing to me to see it, but it has to stop. And even Herschel Walker, he's probably taking some heat. I don't know. He did put out a video yesterday or today, and he was talking about that. He was like, "That's not the way." And I can promise you, doing stuff like that, if anything, it creates racists.
Yep.
Like when people see that, it hardens them in their stance. And in no way does a person that they might see that.
Right.
Like the business owner that they just destroyed his livelihood on, he's not sitting at home.
Right.
I promise you, he's not sitting at home thinking, you know what? Maybe they're right.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
right.
they just ruined my livelihood. Maybe they're right.
Right.
That's not what he's thinking.
Now, but okay. So just to play, I just kind of want to see your thoughts on it.
All right.
Just play devil's advocate here. So, do you think? Because I mean, you just brought up a point just a second ago. Do you think without all the protests and things getting a little wild and people freaking out as much as they did, rightly so, the guy was murdered on video.
Yeah.
Do you think without all that as much attention would be brought to it and those officers would be getting charged right now?
I think that the one would.
Mm-hmm.
I think the protesting, because it had gotten loud enough that I think without the violence, for sure, the one cop would have.
Right.
Because it had done spread like wildfire even across social media.
Yeah.
And I think he would have faced it. Now, the three more, I don't know. But, see, even the way I would kind of look at it, I mean, you gotta build up your voice on that.
Right.
And they had some pretty powerful protests before it got freaking crazy.
Right.
And but when it got out of hand, like I said, it hijacked the whole movement.
Right.
I think the one cop probably would have. Now I don't know about going any further.
Right.
And now I saw that they're upgrading the charge. But
which is stupid, by the way.
It is, and I did not think about that at all.
Stupid, by the way.
Because now they got to prove that he meant to kill the guy.
Right. Well, the thing I was reading and trying to do my due diligence on on the degrees of murder and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
And third degree murder is essentially manslaughter, correct? Right.
That's how I understood it.
Right. But second degree murder is they basically have to prove that he unintentionally killed the guy, right?
Yeah. Well, I thought it had to prove he was intentionally.
Is it intentionally?
I thought it was intentionally killed.
Okay.
I mean, I might be wrong. Well, let me pull a young Jamie moment real quick here.
Google is our friend.
Where is young Jamie when we need him?
Yeah. But anyway, the reason while you're looking that up, I'll kind of go into this. The reason it's stupid is regardless of what the details of the degree of murder is, the more punishment you call for and the more pressure that you put on for punishment and stuff like that of these guys, this and that, the harder time they're going to have to prove in court. The more you pile on this, they need to just let it just sit and listen, they're charging the guy, all that kind of stuff. They're gonna get theirs, you know. But the more you keep calling for, that's not enough. That's not enough. That's not enough.
They got to prove it.
Yeah, all that has to be proven.
Yeah,
and the more that has to be proven in court, the less chance that guy gets convicted.
Yeah, and it says second degree murder is defined generally as intentional murder that lacks premeditation.
There you go.
So I guess first degree is premeditated murder.
Right.
Now, so second degree, and honestly, I actually probably feel like he probably did not intend to kill the guy.
Apparently there's reports out, and I don't know where these reports came from. I just saw them on social media and stuff like that, and so I don't know if there's any credibility to it. But apparently, there's some reports out saying that he had racial motives before, and
Really?
he had gotten in trouble for racist things before.
Yeah, I saw where he did have like 17 prior complaints.
Correct.
But it's a weird thing, man, because he actually worked with the guy. Did you see that? He worked with him prior to at this. They were both like bouncers or security for this club.
Really?
Yeah, they
I
knew
didn't know
each
that.
other because they had the business owner, the woman. They interviewed her, and she was like, "Yeah, they both worked for me."
Wow.
And she said the
Chauvin, whatever his name is, what's his
the
name?
cop and George Floyd.
He was a bouncer. That little noodle arm
Yeah,
police officer was a bouncer.
It was he worked security.
Oh God.
She said he was a hothead too. She said he was a hothead then.
Yeah.
So I mean, that guy was obviously not a good dude.
No.
And like what happened to George is terrible. I mean, like watching the video, it was hard to watch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well, yeah. In the video, dude, you watch the life leave the guy.
Yeah, and the people tell him, they're like, "That man's dead.
Right.
Get off of him." I mean, you do jujitsu. I've been choked out one time before. I actually got a buddy of mine to put me in a sleeper. I wanted to see if I could just manhandle my way out of it.
Yep.
And he like put it in properly. There's no freaking way.
No, dude. Let me tell you something.
But it took 5 seconds.
As soon as blood flow gets cut off from your carotid arteries right here to your brain,
Yeah.
that's lights out. That's lights out, buddy.
Yeah.
And it does not take long for brain damage and all the other things to occur.
Yeah.
And in jiu-jitsu, one of the dominant positions is when you get somebody in side control and you go to what's called knee on belly. And knee on belly is basically like it's a pre to go into full mount.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But knee on belly, you can sit there and control somebody, and dude, it is highly uncomfortable because their knee and their weight is right on your guts and right on your solar plexus, chest, all that kind of stuff. You're already out of breath. You're tired. That's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
George Floyd was handcuffed, like subdued, like in a prone position, like his face had already been kind of charred up by the by the concrete and stuff. Yeah. Now you imagine somebody's whole knee and their weight right on the. They were like, and I've seen some people. They're like, it was on the back of his neck, dude. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That a knee on the neck anywhere, that's cutting off blood flow.
Yeah.
And in the video, dude, it's like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. He
killed that guy.
He did.
No, regardless of what was in his system, the fentanyl, the whatever else was in his system, dude,
Yeah.
you killed that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now some of the on the other side of the spectrum are saying that he had a heart attack, and it's like that dude was murdered.
Right.
I mean, like,
right.
And this is what I said to somebody because they brought up, they were like, well, man, they said he had a heart attack, and I said, all right.
Who's they?
Well, yeah. And Jack and I talked a little bit about this. When a cop, or he said in the military, but cop or military, when you restrain somebody as a police officer or whatever, it's your duty to protect them at that point. I mean, you've got them restrained, right. and that dude was restrained.
Yeah.
He was on the freaking ground. He was handcuffed. I mean, there was 4 cops around there.
Right.
If they couldn't handle that dude in that position, then they need better training.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother issue in itself. But that guy, if he did not, let's say by some crazy chance, he did not somehow kill him with the knee to the neck, he killed him by not taking care of him after he should have realized when that dude went limp. And everybody was telling him the dude went limp. They were like, that guy is dead. You need to check on that man. And he never did. I mean, there was like 3 people around there. They were like, you need to check on that man.
Yep.
And nobody did.
Yeah.
And
I'll say that the whole thing is just odd to me because it all, like, I mean, just the whole patient care. The only good thing I saw out of that whole ordeal is when the paramedics and whatever showed up. The 2 guys that ran over to put him on a stretcher, they looked like state troopers.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell what they were. The only good thing I saw is how one of the state troopers handled his head.
Stabilized.
Yeah, as it's just typical C-spine precaution. And handled his head. And other than that, they just flopped his ass on the stretcher, and it's just odd.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a lot of, well, like, see, you can't trust anything anymore.
Right.
And it all ties back into that. Because it's so freaking weird. It's weird that they knew each other. It's a lot of weird stuff.
Yep.
And then they said that, like, I think what did he do? He had like a counterfeit $20 bill. And
I thought he wrote a bad check.
it might have been, it was forgery or something, I think it said. But what's weird, they said he tried to do that in that store, and then he walked out of the store, but he waited there. And like, so there's a lot of weird questions that I have, and it even goes with the rioting. Did you see the video of the guy with the umbrella that started the?
Yeah.
What the crap is that?
I don't know.
Like
I don't know.
If somebody's listening, you don't know what we're talking about. You need to look up the dude, and he's got a black umbrella. You can probably just YouTube or Google man with umbrella. Basically, he like started the riots.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're protesting, and some dude comes walking around in like a black like duster, and he's got an umbrella. And they said he had a hammer hidden beside the umbrella.
Right, and was hitting windows.
Yeah, he just walked up and started, and he had a huge gas mask on so you couldn't see him. See, some of the conspiracies said he was a cop. Did you see that?
Yep.
They said he was a cop, and he was.
Yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah. They had that posted a picture of saying like this was a white police officer that started this stuff.
Yeah, doing it to ruin it.
Ugh.
And there are some people that fully get the Eddie Bravos fully get into those stuff. I don't know. I don't think everything is a conspiracy. I don't think everything is.
I try not to.
Yeah.
I
do too.
I try not to, but man, it's just a lot of stuff is just odd.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff doesn't check out. And
when you watch Waco, it really makes you wonder what they're up to.
Oh man.
But no, yeah, it's
that's a whole nother just.
Yeah. But you don't know. I mean, who knows what that guy was?
Right.
I mean, because the government covers its tracks.
Yeah, but man, in the same breath, I hate to give the government that much. I hate to give the government like that much power. You know what I mean?
But they've got it.
Yeah,
they've got it. And I mean, the bad thing is we've let them get it.
Yeah, and
that's a good segue into the Boogaloo. So,
oh God, there we go.
Now, I have some buddies that are like hardcore about this Boogaloo. Now, somebody is listening. They're like, "What the hell is the Boogaloo?" And I can understand, because not long ago I was also like, "What the hell is the Boogaloo?" The Boogaloo, from my understanding, is basically like the next Revolutionary War. Like when the people finally, the militia was like, all right, government, we're tired of paying taxes, and they just rise up and go to arms against the government. That's
Correct.
My understanding of the Boogaloo. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, it's basically a militia movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now I have several issues with the Boogaloo. And I want to remind people, this is not hating on the people that are Boogalooers. Look, I don't trust the government as far as I can throw it. And I love guns and things. I mean, if there was a local militia, then sign me up. Like, I'm sure I'm probably on some FBI list already, so I don't care. But I think that there needs to be some level of preparation. And that's kind of what I wanted to dive into. Is there anything you wanted to add before we get into it?
I mean, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of people that think there's a lot of people out there that think they're more prepared for it than they are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my gripe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's. There you go.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
That's my gripe with this whole thing. Is all right. I want to break down this. Let's realistically break down the Boogaloo. Now, I've got friends that are military, and I've kind of talked to them a little bit about what would happen if, say, we went up against the military. Now, I don't want to say this sounding like that there's no chance we could go up against the military, because, I mean, that's what happened back in the day.
Right.
Now, I mean, the thing that people got to think about, and just some of the easy things I think about pretty quick, let's say we did go against the military, and there's guys out there that are all the time like praising this Boogaloo, and they got, let's say you got a wife and kid, and you're praising the Boogaloo, and the Boogaloo starts, and then a bomb gets dropped on your house and blows up your wife and kid. Like, that stuff can happen in a scenario like that. Like, a war fought here at our home ground would be terrible.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it is, dude. It is hands. I mean, I don't want to say it's the worst thing that can, because there's always work, but it would hands down be one of the worst things that could possibly happen to this country if we imploded again and like another civil war,
Yeah.
or the Boogaloo took over. It's gonna be bad.
yeah.
It's gonna be bad. I would even fair to say, like, if that happened, that would probably open us up to being infiltrated by another country.
Yeah, man, because we would be super vulnerable at that point.
Yep.
I mean, China would be like, we'd probably be easy pickings to China.
They're waiting.
Yeah.
They're just waiting.
Them and Russia both would love to just take us over.
Yep.
But, so that's my first thing. It's like, okay, it ain't going to be Call of Duty when the Boogaloo starts.
Correct.
Because, yeah, I mean, if that happens here, then, I mean, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to see war here.
No.
Because my wife and my 2 kids are here.
Yep. Yep.
So
I will butt in real quick on that. That is dude, one thing which I have just tried to take everything on social media with a grain of salt, and because it's social media.
yeah,
If you stay on social media all day and read all this crap that's going on, you're going to end up pissed off. You know,
Yeah.
you just are. You just are.
Yeah.
The way, like, it's just the way it is. But one of the things that has pissed me off the most is I've seen several people, they're like, this should cause an uprising. This should call a civil war. I'm like, moron, do you know what a civil war entails? Do you know what that means? I don't think you do.
yeah.
You know, and because it hands down would be one of the worst things that could happen to us.
Well, look at the amount of deaths that happened in the Civil War.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Well, that you can. I mean, it was a ton, but they also didn't know how to fight.
no, I
then.
mean they did stand there and shoot straight
Right,
at each other.
gentlemen. What's the correct term for that? It's
shoot, I don't
gentlemen's
remember.
fighting, or
Something.
yeah, it's basically line dancing with
Yeah.
muzzleloaders.
And that's why if you watch the freaking awesome movie, The Patriot, he kicks the living crap out of them because he fights. You know, they call him the Ghost because he doesn't stand toe to toe.
That is a great movie.
That is, man. I
Yep.
watched it not long ago.
Yeah.
But the way that, and the next thing that, because I actually was talking to somebody like pretty in depthly about the Boogaloo the other day. All right, you got to also take into account there would be Air Force used against us.
Mhm.
I mean, and that's pretty bad. Like
Yeah.
tanks and Air Force. I mean, you know, everybody feels tough until an AC-130 comes overhead. Like, and, you know, I've got AR-15s and a variety of others.
Right.
But my little 5.56 round shooting up at that big AC-130 when them
No, sir.
freaking bombs come
No,
out.
sir.
Or, you know, them Gatling guns that are like,
Oh
like,
yeah. It's gonna mow down half your Boogaloos.
Yes.
You know, and it sucks to say that, because like I've also said, you know, there's I felt, God, there's so many directions you could go with this. I hate to say it like that, because there, you know, there's people like, well, why do you need so many gun rights?
Yeah.
You know, why do you need an AR-15? It's like, well, it's because it's to help oppose a tyrannical government.
Yeah.
But then they're like, you don't think the tyrannical government couldn't just fly a plane over and drop a bomb on you?
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like, well,
Well, but I do think that. But where I go with that is I believe at some point the tide would shift, because for 2 reasons. First, there would be people in the military that would not follow orders on like turning on the civilians. That's one thing. I talked to a friend of mine. He's a colonel in the Marines. And I asked him about that. And he was like, you would definitely have people that would go AWOL. Like at that point, they'd be like, we're not going to open fire on civilians.
And I just have a hard time believing that like people in the military would bomb their own country.
There would be some.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, but I guarantee you there would be you would have some that would.
Right.
But I think that all it would take, what I feel like, and some military guys probably, if he listens to this, he'll probably be like, these morons. But all I think it would take.
Probably going to be a lot of people.
Yeah, maybe. But hey, I've seen Red Dawn. No, I mean. But
also a great movie.
Yes, the original, not the remake.
Yeah.
But I think that the way I see it is, I mean, for starters, there's plenty of angry old veterans out there.
Correct.
That used to pilot things, and that's what I've said would be ultimate goal would be to take over an air base.
Right.
You would have to take over an air base, and if you could ever do that, because then you could get to it, and you'd have to. That's when the old heads would have to come out and shine. But I mean, because man, there's so many. It'd be like Vietnam almost, where there was so many freaking enemies.
Right.
That would be the one strong suit. If you actually got, like, if the Boogaloo actually started,
right,
you would have to get everybody united against, and that's where. But that's not going to happen. So I don't know. I mean, the Boogaloo's not going to be this cool thing. Like,
it's gonna be horrible.
It would. I mean, it would be. It would
horrible.
be the unending of America. Like, and it's. Like,
yep.
And like you said, people come in and freaking.
Oh, I think that's the biggest issue with it. Other than the horrible bloodshed that would be on our own soil.
Yeah.
It would literally just open us up to. It would literally just open us up to. I mean, literally being infiltrated by another like. Dude, and that's another thing that I have talked to and had conversations with people about. Dude, Russia, China, whoever else, a big time country that already is uneasy with us, they are laughing their asses off at us right now.
Yeah, man,
they're like,
love
look
this.
at these idiots.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They're literally, they're killing each other. They're literally killing each other. It is a sad precursor to what could be. I mean, these Boogaloo times we speak of.
Yeah. Well, and that's what, I mean, and I don't want people to misconstrue it. Like, I consider myself a pretty hardcore patriot. I mean, like, if it came to worse, I mean, I would go. I'd be ready. I mean, like I said, I'm a gear guy, and I try to shoot, and that actually leads me to the next point on the Boogaloo. There's a heck of a lot more to warfare than just having the gear.
Yep.
If that were the case, if just having the gear, then why in the hell would the Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Green Berets, Delta Force, Marine Recon, why would they all train so damn hard?
Yep.
I mean, like, and you don't see.
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
Well, you don't see a 300-pound Navy SEAL running freaking 500 yards to, like, get in position.
I know 3 SEALs. I know them personally. Know 3 SEALs. 3 of the most badass dudes that I know. All train jiu-jitsu.
We won't hold that against them.
Yeah. We'll get you out there one day. All train jiu-jitsu. All stay in tip-top shape.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm telling you, and I know another special forces guy, and obviously I'm not gonna say any of their names.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm telling you right now, those guys stay ready.
Yeah.
Stay ready. It's not obviously with their jobs. It's not just being a physical badass. It's being a gear badass.
Yeah.
It's knowing your weapons badass. It's being able to shoot. It's being able to mitigate horrible situations.
Yeah.
Leadership qualities. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got all these guys that are so high strung on the Boogaloo that are just ready to freaking slap mags and AR-15s and bro, listen, I'm telling you, if you can't run a quarter of a mile, you ain't gonna last that long.
No, I mean, and again, we're not hating on you. Like, I hope that you listen to this, and maybe if you're a hardcore Boogaloo or whatever you call them, I hope that this makes you say, you know what I do? I want to get more prepared and be, like, ready to rock. And that's what – so, I mean – and, yeah, like you said, I mean – and a lot of them guys – I mean, even retired SEALs that I know stay ready.
Yeah.
Like – and I'll point to him, another guy that I've had on the podcast, Pat Mack. He's like 56.
Always training.
Always training. Always shooting.
Right.
Always training.
Yep.
I mean, that dude's as combat ready right now as he is when he left the military.
Right. Yep.
And he's freaking 56 years old.
Yep.
So, I mean, you know, you got these guys, I mean, they're warriors, like, to the core.
Right.
And that's the thing. I mean, you can have the baddest guns and the baddest firepower there is, but at some point you got to move. I mean, you can't always, you know, like, I think of Bert from Trimmers. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
You know, he's got that freaking arsenal,
Right.
all these bad guns, but essentially at some point you have to move.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so,
well, and I mean, look, you can even flip it to the other side. You can be in freaking tip top shape, you know, maybe training some martial arts and stuff like that. But if you don't practice with your weaponry,
yeah, you can't handle a freaking gun.
I have done some tactical shooting classes and some like bad situational, practice shoots and stuff like that. Guys that are very well versed in handguns and stuff like that. And even like as practiced as I am with concealed carry, you know, holster drawing, that kind of stuff. Going through drills like jams and stuff like that, switching mags, all that kind of stuff. It amazed me, as well versed and as well as I knew my handguns, how much I still fumbled with them in bad tight situations. So you know what I mean?
When the pressure's on, man.
Right. Yeah. So you can have this physically fit, tip top shape, and he can freaking get smoked by some fat dude that knows that has trained with his weapons, that is very well versed with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to be a well-rounded guy. And, I mean, we're not saying you got to have a six-pack and be like a Greek god physique guy out there also running mags. I mean, but you need to be able to move. I mean, a warrior to me is a rounded, like a well-rounded individual. And, I mean, you don't have to be able to shoot the wings off a fly at 100 yards, but you need to be proficient with the firearm. But you got to be able to act under pressure, like you said.
Yeah.
That's
right. And listen, I'm just as I'll be 100% honest. I shoot a lot. I'm a gear guy as well. I know some former operators and stuff like that. Trained with them, stuff like that. Know them well. I am just as civilian as the next guy. So in no way, shape, or form am I trying to make myself sound better.
Yeah, same here.
But just the experiences that I have, that I have been through, like I said, it leads to, you need to be well rounded, especially if you're somebody that is willing and looking forward to. I don't want to say looking forward. I hope nobody's looking forward to the Boogaloo.
I mean, I hope realistically.
It's like something, like when The Walking Dead was huge, and when it was actually a good TV show.
Yeah.
And just like, 28 days later and stuff like that. By the way, those are the scary zombies.
Because they're fast, man. Good gosh.
But everybody's like, man, it'd be so badass if a zombie apocalypse happened. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't. You would watch your family get eaten alive.
Yeah. When you see your mother get her throat ripped out by a zombie, and then you have to shoot her because she becomes a zombie. Right. That would not be cool.
All these things, freaking capping zombies, and or being a freaking patriot, the Boogaloo and stuff. That all sounds good and fun, but man, we don't want that.
No, and that's what I keep saying.
I don't personally.
I don't either. But I weigh things realistically.
Right.
I've seen people, they say, well, the blood of tyrants. And it's like, man, do you know what you're really asking here? Like, look, I hate paying taxes as much as the next guy. But you know what? I'll pay some damn taxes. And I mean, and some guys listen like, well, you're not a real patriot American. I'll pay some taxes to guarantee for right now that I'm not going to war and my wife isn't getting slaughtered and my children. Like, I mean, it's not to that point for me. Yeah. I'm not to the point where I'm like, all right, we need to start stacking bodies. Like, I don't feel like we're there yet.
Right.
I mean, could it get there? I don't know. I don't know where this thing goes. If it gets to a point where I feel like we're literally under a tyrannical government.
I'm telling you, dude, 2020 is going to continue to be wild.
Yeah.
We're in the earliest hurricane season that's like ever been recorded.
Yeah. 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 I know. I saw that about to hit the Gulf or whatever. Yeah. It's, I mean,
which that doesn't have anything. I don't think it does. I don't think they control the weather yet. I don't know.
Who knows? I don't know.
But
hey, and that actually leads me to the next thing. not necessarily Boogaloo related. I guess kind of could be, but I've had a couple of guys, and again, Jack and I talked about this. You may have had some people reach out. I've had several people reach out to me about wanting to get a gun now with these times, and I mean, gun ownership has like skyrocketed since all this has happened. Yeah, and like I said, this is the perfect argument for gun control.
Yep.
Why would they're like, why would anybody need a gun? You think that the people are going to go crazy or like all this stuff? And it's like,
look around.
What's going on right now?
Look around.
Yeah.
Yep. Look around and see. I mean, you see it on every freaking on TV, every social media platform. Look freaking around.
Yep.
That's why.
But
that should never be brought up again.
Yeah. Oh, I mean it has destroyed the guns. Like, where is what's the little dummy that was saying, "Hell yes, we're coming for your AR-15s"? Beto. Where is that beta male Beto? His name is perfect because he is a Beto male, like a beta male. That's him. But he, I don't hear that guy saying he's coming after our guns right now. But I've had some people reach out and they're like, "Man, where do I need to go? How do I want to get a gun?" All right. This is just me, and I'll let Brent give his recommendation. For house, and again, I mean, I'm a civilian, but I'm a gear guy, and this is kind of what I like at the house. I mean, ideally, an AR-15 is like the ultimate home defense weapon. But I'll tell you kind of my setup right now. I've got in my bedroom there, I have access to a Glock 17.
Let's not tell too much about your setups.
Well, they're legal.
Yeah.
But I got a Glock 17 with a flashlight mounted on it.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, setting up something for in the home, I think you need a light.
Right.
Because if things go down, I mean, if somebody comes in, let's say they cut your power, you don't have any light, you don't want to be fumbling with a flashlight. I got a Streamlight TLR1, I think, mounted on my Glock. I like it. I like the 17 because it holds 17 rounds, and I've got another mag with it.
Yep.
And my other firearm that's there, I'm not going to dive into many others, but I'll tell you the two here, and I think they're good routes. Like, because anybody can get a Glock 17, handle it, and a mount light flash goes on it. I mean, a flashlight mounts on it good. And then the other...
That's pretty easy to handle, too.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the other is a Mossberg 935. It's actually, I think a 935. It's semi-automatic. Mm-hmm. But I've got it. Now, again, if this is just the basic person want a basic gun, honestly, the Glock 17 with a flashlight would be a pretty good home defense gun.
Yep.
I mean, you hear the old story that a pump shotgun, you can get one of them. They're probably the cheapest route, in all honesty. Like a Remington 870 would probably be about your cheapest route.
That's funny you say that. I actually recommended that to a guy that I work with out in Memphis.
Really?
Yep. He was like, man, he said, I don't feel. He said, I don't feel just super comfortable with handguns. I've never been able to shoot them well. I said, well, I would say just be, and he's like, I've never really owned guns, never really shot. I said, go get you a Remington 870.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that'll be, that'll be good enough for you to make a loud boom. If you hit him within room distance or hit him, her, whatever, it's probably going to do some very collateral damage.
Yeah.
I think that's your most basic route.
Yeah. Now I like the Mossberg I like it because it's got an extended tube.
Okay.
And so I got 7 rounds, I think, in it. 7 shells, and I got this double-aught buckshot. Now, I recommend double-aught buckshot for your home defense. And if you don't know what that is, it's the 2 zeros, and it's buckshot. Now, I think that gun's only chambered for 3-inch, so I got 3-inch. If it was chambered for 3.5, I'd have 3.5. If it was chambered for 6-inch, I'd have 6-inch. Like, I'm one of them guys, some people, when you go duck hunting, people are like, you don't need them 3.5-inch shells. Well, I'm the guy, if they made a 4-inch, I would have a 4-inch. I don't care. But I like more power than – I don't ever want to have a lack of power.
Right.
And that's – so double-aught buckshot, that's one – I told one of my cousins she needs to just go buy like a Remington 870, put her some double-aught buckshot in there, keep that in the house. And I mean, they claim that just the racking of the slide, like when you shuck a shell in.
Okay, Joe Biden.
That's what, they claim that'll scare them. But
okay, Joe.
But that's what mine. They ain't gonna know because that Glock 17. Now I like the little strobe. It'll do a strobe effect on there too. So they say you can kind of disorient them a little bit with that. But I don't know. And I'm sure an 870, they're pretty customizable. You could put a light on an 870. I'm a believer in a light on your gun like that because you don't want to be, especially if you're not really fluent with a gun, you don't want to be trying to fumble with the flashlight.
Right.
So, and you don't want to shoot. I mean, heaven forbid something happen, you shoot the wrong person. Like, let's say there's other members in the house. You want to be able to identify who the crap you are.
That comes back to what we were talking about earlier. Even in, I mean, I don't want to call it simple, but I mean, even in your basic home defense situations, you have to be able to mitigate pressure situations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want, you don't want to accidentally shoot one of your kids that's freaking out, maybe running down the hallway and stuff like that when you've got a home intruder or somebody trying to get into your house and stuff like that. You have to you have to familiarize yourself with those kind of situations. Everybody thinks just because they buy a handgun or a shotgun or an AR, like, oh, that's all I need, and it sits there and collects dust.
Yeah.
No, man, that's not how it goes. You need to play through these situations in your mind. If you know somebody of any kind of tactical sense, maybe a retired military person, like, man, it is no shame to go find somebody and like maybe like hey, I'll pay you for some lessons to just show me some basic stuff like that. You have to know how to use that.
No,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
definitely, you definitely need to, because a person that's not trained is a danger to themselves.
Correct.
When I got my handgun carry permit, there was a chick beside me that was shooting, and I think she had probably shot the gun one time, maybe, beforehand.
Right.
And she was shaking, like you could see her hands shaking. She was horrified of the gun, and it was like a tiny gun. It was like a 380, but she was terrified. And she would shoot it, and it would jam. It was a little cheap gun.
Right.
And it would jam.
Oh, God, probably like a, what are they called?
High point.
High point.
Yeah. Yeah, gosh. Those guns are hilarious, and they're hideous. But she would turn it, and she would point it down range or down the line at, like, all of us. She was muzzle flashing all of us.
Right.
I started stepping back out of the line after I would shoot my time. I would step back because I was like, she was literally flashing me with this gun.
Right.
So, I mean, don't be like that. And you sure as hell don't want to be like that when someone's trying to kill you.
Right.
Like, I mean, I've never been in a situation of somebody breaking into my home and trying to kill me, but I can't hardly imagine a more high-pressure situation.
Right.
Especially, I've got a wife and 2 kids. And you're not a weirdo for trying to think of a plan.
Right.
Like, don't think you're a weirdo if you're telling your wife, like, or if it's a woman listening, trying to tell her husband, like, we need a plan on what do we do if something ever happens.
Well, yeah, that's how you how not to die.
Yes.
I mean, but there's nothing wrong with planning. That doesn't make you some kind of weird prepper or whatever. But hey, listen, like we talked about just a second ago, dude, I don't see how there can be any argument brought about, like, why do I need guns? Why do I need something for self-defense or whatever? Why do I need a gun in my home? That argument is, look around.
Yeah.
That argument's squashed.
It is absolutely. I mean, anywhere you look.
So
now, and 2 on where I would tell you, because I've had some people ask where. You can, most places are going to have a local gun store. Galleryofguns.com is really good. They got a thing called the Gun Genie. You can actually search guns on there. Glock, if you're looking for brands, Glock is really good. Jack has made me want to get a SIG. I'm probably going to go look at some SIGs at some point.
That's nothing wrong with having a variety.
No, I've got plenty of Glocks. It's time to branch out. What was the other one? Aim Surplus is a website I use a lot. They have a lot of ammo and stuff on there too, and a lot of guns. And they actually get law enforcement trade-ins, and they're usually pretty cheap. Glocks and SIGs. I would look there. But I mean, like I said, most of your places are going to have a local store.
Right.
And I like the local stores because you can probably link up with some sort of training.
Yep.
Because there bad trainers, just like there probably is with jiu-jitsu gyms. There's bad jiu-jitsu gyms. There's crap. I'm a farmer. There's crappy farmers around here.
Any kind of profession, man, you're going to have the low end to the mid-range to the high end.
Yep. So, but get some level of training. And because you don't need to be, honestly, you don't want to go into firearms ignorant. Like in a high pressure situation.
Well, and not even to mitigate situations, but like you said, you do not want to be a danger to yourself.
Yeah.
The purpose of buying this firearm is for, if you're not a recreational shooter, if you're not an outdoorsman, if it is purely self-defense, it is to defend yourself and your family, not to be a danger to yourself.
Yeah, and that's, again, I can't think of a more high pressure scenario.
Yeah,
somebody coming to kill me or harm my family, and that's where, take the rioters. If they come and start throwing bricks through my windows, to me, that's a threat directly to me and my family. Mm-hmm. And that's how I'm going to approach that. And
well, hopefully they're smart enough not to come out to what was that? There was like an interview. I think it was a Florida guy. It might have been a Florida sheriff. Well, I know the county was. I think the county was like Polk County or something like that.
Really?
He's like, listen. He's like, I encourage the people of Polk County to own firearms. He's like, I keep hearing about the riots going out and attacking the suburbs and stuff like that. He's saying, I'm telling you, that is not a wise decision.
Yeah.
He's like, I encourage them to send you out the same way you came in.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that right there, that is badass.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what, and that's why we're telling you, because. And I wanted to, like I said, definitely give you some ideas. The Remington 870, you won't go wrong with that. And a Glock 17, it's a 9mm. You want something normal. A 9 where you can get ammo. And preferably on a pistol, hollow points. I'm shooting hollow points in my Glock. I like Glocks because you can shoot plus P, so they're a little hotter rounds. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of the route I steer you there. And before we kind of wrap up here, did I ever tell you, have you shot, or no, you haven't shot mine, but I got a binary trigger. You heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
I put one of those in an AR-15.
Okay.
Thing is bad to the bone.
Bad to the bone, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, man, I've heard. No, I don't have any setup on any of my rigs, but I've heard they're
legit.
Yeah.
It's kind of, for people that don't know on those, Franklin Armory makes a binary trigger, and it's legal. It's a perfectly legal add-on.
Right.
And it just replaces the stock trigger, and it's got 3 selectors. It's got safe, semi-automatic, and which I like because I don't want it to always fire. It fires when you slip it to binary mode. It fires for one pull, and then when you release the trigger, it fires. So,
booyah.
Yeah, you can walk the trigger back and forth. I've been planning on making a YouTube video kind of showing it. It was really easy to install, and it's just a cool thing.
Right. Right.
Because fully automatic. I want a full auto gun. I think the Second Amendment should allow me to have a fully automatic gun. So, I don't have one, but maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Okay, totally off subject. Well, before we get on what I was going to ask, again, we are myself and Logan are both civilians. Okay, all these topics we've talked about as far as self-defense, owning a firearm, what we do in the Boogaloo, all that kind of stuff, it is coming straight from a civilian standpoint, because I know I will have some of my military buddies that will listen to this and listen. We're not trying to say that we're experts on any of this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But we both have had some training in firearms and some and training in mitigating, stressful situations and stuff like that. We're familiar with the weapons that we own, and that's simply all we're suggesting.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know, in the crazy times that we're in, you know, just be prepared.
Yeah.
Be prepared, and be prepared with your weaponry, plan, that kind of stuff. That doesn't make you some kind of weird doomsday prepper, but you want to be. I mean, because I firmly believe, and I could be totally off. All this stuff could end tomorrow for all I know, but I still think 2020 is going to be a wild year from now until the end of it,
Yeah.
and there's just no telling where it could go. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there as a disclaimer, because I know there's plenty of servicemen, servicewomen out there that are, like, you know, highly trained, professional in this kind of stuff.
A hell of a lot more trained than we are.
Correct. So yeah, just to kind of avoid the Billy Badass stereotype. You know, we're just putting out simple suggestions and stuff like that for civilian type people.
Yes.
So, okay.
All right. I'm nervous. What are you asking here?
Oh, don't be nervous. But okay, aliens. So, since all this has been going on, okay, coronavirus, the riots, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And these videos I've seen could be totally bullcrap.
Yeah.
But what I know is not bullcrap is the videos that the Pentagon released. Right? That's not a they. The Pentagon.
Yeah.
Released.
Can they be trusted?
I don't know. I guess maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But they did. How weird and how crazy is it how much it's flown under the radar that Navy pilots, whatever pilots, wherever they come from, like, there are videos of them not being able to identify an object or a flying object that is faster than them that they could not keep up with.
Yeah.
And that has been released by the Pentagon as a real thing, and nobody. I
haven't even heard about it.
No, are you exactly?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Nobody's even raising an eyebrow at it.
Yeah, I haven't even
It's
heard.
like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like, that's possibly a legit UFO.
Yeah. How long ago?
I mean, I know, like, this came out maybe like a month or so ago. I could be off on that time
So
frame.
it's pretty recent.
Yeah, it could be, but for real, like, the Pentagon released, like, footage and said, "Hey, this is a real thing. You know, there's videos of our pilots not being able to keep up, and for all I know, man, it could be some super science, German, Russian, whatever. I don't know, but all I know is it's like, we've got some pretty fast planes.
Yeah.
We've always had some pretty fast planes. You know, our Navy's pretty damn hard to keep up with.
Yeah.
And some of our best pilots, and you know what I mean? And it's just flown under the radar. And now there's videos on Facebook popping up. It's like the freaking movie Signs. There's random lights popping up, and people are like, aliens, and everybody's like, coronavirus, riots.
Yeah. All right, well, have you watched the Bob Lazar documentary?
I haven't watched the documentary, but I watched when he was on Rogan.
Yeah. All right. Bob, now, all right, let me tell you my conviction on the aliens. All right, I am a Bible-believing Christian. I don't have any problem in saying that. I am. And I've never found anything in the Bible that would lead me to believe that there's aliens. Now,
not to get super controversial, but the Bible doesn't really say anything about dinosaurs either.
Well, but that's what I was actually going to say. But it doesn't say anything. It doesn't really say anything to make me think there's not. Like, it just doesn't talk about aliens. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, now I don't know. Like, I can't see a reason why God would make aliens, but I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. He does whatever he wants to do. And so, I mean, maybe, but,
yeah.
like, so the Bob Lazar one got me pretty wondering because I had heard of him before he went on Rogan. Because I got all into the Area 51 thing. Like, back when I was in high school, I was like, man, I wanted to go to Area 51 before it was, like, cool.
God. Okay. I'm glad you said it. I thought you meant, like, you got in, like the people, like, talking about Russian Area 51.
Yeah, I was going to Naruto. What is that? Naruto
run?
Naruto run.
Isn't that like, little nerdy kids dead in high school.
The little weird anime bull crap, ain't it? Ain't that some anime crap?
Hey, there's some cool just, you know.
I can't get into that. I can't get into it. I got a cousin that's like hardcore into anime, And
Anyway,
it's terrible. Yeah, don't even get me on the anime. But I got into the Area 51 back then because I always was like, I just wonder what the heck is really there.
Right.
And so I kind of stumbled upon Bob Lazar back. This was back in the dial-up AOL days, and it took you like 10 minutes. Yes. And so I had kind of looked into him then, and I listened to him on Rogan, and I've even watched the documentary because I don't know, man. I don't think Bob is full of shit.
I don't either.
No.
Dude, I mean, like, man, listen, dude, you can tell when somebody's lying.
Yeah.
And hasn't he been on, like,
a shit ton of stuff,
lie detectors and stuff like that, and everything has always checked out?
Yeah. Bob and his stories are the same all the time.
They've never changed.
If you're a freaking liar, at some point you're going to stumble.
Yep.
In a time span, let's say, I mean, he's been telling this story for 20 years.
Right.
In that time span, some segment of your lie
would change.
Yep. And there is no change.
No
in
change.
That, guys. I mean, he is, and so that's why I'm like, damn it, I don't know.
Right.
And I think,
well, for me, dude, it's not for me. It's not even the fact that it's not even an argument of do they exist anymore. I have convinced myself that, dude, it is
that they exist.
I believe it's a thing.
Yeah.
But what's crazy to me is nobody's paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Whether or not those light videos, like those random lights or whatever, like, they could have ripped that from signs from all I know.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, the Pentagon and all this stuff has been released.
That's pretty interesting there. I did not know about that.
Yeah,
one.
Look it up, dude.
Yeah.
Look it up. I'm serious. Like, it's it's crazy to me. Like, all this kind of stuff is going on, and like we've talked, and here we are, like, on like semi-proof of aliens, and nobody gives.
Yeah, nobody cares.
They're like, okay.
Yeah. No, like I said, Bob Lazar kind of got me wondering because I think he talked about trying to reverse engineer some, like, pretty much alien aircraft.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's
listening to him describe it on, like, the things that he saw.
It was too detailed. I'm like, man, how did he? And his, again, that's another thing. It has been the same when he described it. Now, what really was wild about Bob, and I'll encourage anybody listening, watch or listen to him on Rogan. Some people might not can handle Rogan because he cusses like a sailor on there sometimes. If you can't handle Rogan, watch the Lazar documentary on Netflix. It's really good. And it'll make you wonder what the crap is up there in the sky.
Yep.
Because Bob worked for him at Area 51.
Yeah.
Now, and
to describe things he saw in there to a T.
Yes. And this all actually ties in really well with this because it all leads to one of the reasons why I don't trust the government.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bob saw some crazy crap when he was there, and they had some alien aircraft. They wanted him to reverse engineer it. It was like I think an energy source or something too. I can't even remember all of it, but it's been a little while since I watched or listened. But they wanted him to reverse engineer it, and I don't think he could. And it was like crazy engineering. Well, Bob started getting paranoid. Like, he started noticing, like, people watching him.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of confiding in some people, which was, like, highly against the rules with Area 51.
Right.
And so all this crap, I mean, he was scared he was going to get killed. It was like cars showing up, which I'm sure. And so the thing that always got me with Bob, I had told people about Bob Lazar for a long time because the government erased his credentials.
Mm-hmm.
They fired him. They erased his credentials. They claimed he never worked there. They erased his college credentials.
Yep.
Like, they said he never went to graduated. I don't remember where the college was, but they said he never graduated from there. But his name was in the directory of the place that he worked.
Yep.
Like, they had erased him from working, but they had missed the directory because they had found, like, Bob and his team had found the directory with his name in it.
Yep.
So
he'd been there.
He had been there.
So he knows some stuff, dude.
Yep.
Oh, see, man.
Even if it's not as wild as it is obviously wild enough that the government went
and
that
tried to
far.
freaking and sweat and tried to sweep it under the rug.
Yep.
Yep.
And so that, again, that goes why I don't trust the government because,
This is a government conspiracy podcast.
yes, yes. Hey, like I said, I don't trust them because they wrecked that dude
Yep.
and tried to erase everything. So, I mean, that and tying in with the corona, that pandemic video that came out. Did you watch it?
I watched a little bit of it.
All right, well, that chick that was in it, and I don't want to really get into it because people get all butthurt over it, but the chick that's in it that they talked to, she's, they were like, oh, she's been discredited and stuff, and I saw that. Well, anytime I see that now, I'm like, I don't really put that much weight on the discredit thing because Bob Lazar was discredited, and it was a bunch of horse crap. Like,
Yep.
So, I don't know, man. That's, I've always,
Yes or no? That's what I want to know.
man, I mean, I could probably say yes, there's probably something out there.
I think you'd be silly not to.
I do too. Now, all right, what about ghosts? While we're diving down that hole there, let's just go on in there. What about ghosts? What do you think about a ghost?
No. Simply because of all the horse crap TV shows that have come out. Which I guess you could say the same thing about aliens because the guy that's on the History Channel, that dude with the wild
aliens.
Aries, like, and the meme aliens.
Yes.
But no, dude, I don't know, man. God, they're just so, dude. We can sit here and talk about this for freaking hours. I don't freaking know, man. I would say this. I think there's more to prove that there's aliens out there than there is to prove that ghosts are out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
I think there's more proof out there that alien life exists, that extraterrestrial life exists, than there is to ghosts.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I'm gonna edge on the side of no.
All right. Yeah, I can go there. Now, when it comes to demons, I do believe in demons, because I mean, biblically there was demons,
Right?
And I mean, I think, and people are like, and I think demons are different things today.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, alcohol I think is a demon for some people today. Like it's I enjoy a glass of whiskey, but a guy that struggles with alcoholism, maybe that could be considered a demon.
A demon to deal with.
Yeah. Now ghosts, I have tried to find a ghost. Like that was something I got into, too. I used to go and was like, man, I wanted to go and I'd go to some creepy places because I was like, I want to know. And my dad, I asked him one time, I was like, do you believe in ghosts? And he said, no. And he said, I have coon hunted by myself in some of the weirdest woods of all time. He said, if there was such thing as a ghost, it would have got me a long time ago.
Yep.
Now, I'll tell you a creepy story, though. I don't want to say name, but I got a family member that firmly believes in ghosts and has experienced a lot of weird stuff. And it's actually multiple family members that all have experienced it. Now, there was a house, a family house, and they would hear children in the hallway all the time, like at night, because like there would be times when they would get in trouble because their mother would come in there and be like, y'all are being way too loud. And they're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And she was like, well, I heard the kids in the hallway. And multiple different family members had heard kids in the hallway. And then one of them was actually, she said she was held down from getting out of bed one morning. Like she could feel something holding her down in the bed.
We're getting into conjuring crap.
Yeah. So I've heard, and then there was another, they claimed that a window, there were doors would shut. And I mean, again, it's not, if it was one person, I could kind of let it slide, but it's actually been multiple people that had these accounts, and they're all very level-headed individuals. Okay. So there's things like that make me wonder.
Right.
But so I don't know. What are the? I mean, does that? What do you think? I mean, how do you justify that?
I don't know. I don't know. I know me personally, I've never experienced anything like that.
Yeah,
just
I
like
haven't either.
Just like I've never experienced anything with Bigfoot. I've never experienced anything with aliens,
Yeah.
other than seeing what I believe is more proof
Yeah.
that to me that leads to be more proof that there's extraterrestrial life.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm the same. One of my buddies back when I was in elementary school, they have an old house in Covington. His parents did, and it had a like a basement in it, and they had turned it into a pretty cool little like game room, and it had a bed in there. And we were having like a little sleepover, and we wanted to stay in the basement because it was supposed to be haunted. And they had a weight bench in there, and they said you could actually hear it at night. The weights would jingle on the weight rack downstairs. And so we slept down there because I wanted to know if we could hear anything, and we never did. But they swear, all of them. I mean, he to this day would tell you that he heard it.
yeah, okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know, man. If there is a ghost, I would like to know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think we all would.
Yeah.
So.
But I don't know. So we'll let y'all, you can figure it out. Hey, I mean, shoot me a message there.
Yeah, please chime in when this is posted up. I would like to know. I would like to know your guys' opinions.
Yeah, if you make it through the like somewhat, if you're incredibly offended,
which is a high possibility.
Yeah, but if you make it, just know when you get towards the end, it's not offensive. Right. We're talking about ghosts and aliens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in closing on my part, anything that we've talked about, like as far as the riots, the protests, what happened to George Floyd, all that kind of stuff, in no way, shape, or form was it meant to be any kind of offensive. This was just us, like I mean, just outwardly talking. And just discussing, I mean, it was just a discussion about things. And if you guys have opinions or different, point of views, you guys want to, message us or comment, whatever, feel free to do. I'm always up for a good logical conversation. I'm not gonna get in a multiple page Facebook argument, dude. It solves nothing. Like we've talked about before, nothing like nobody's minds change and stuff like that. So yeah. So I've enjoyed it, dude.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and like I say, I just want to echo pretty much what Brent said. There's no way, I mean, whether it was with the riots, the protests, and I hate to even say them together because I don't view the riots and the protests in any way the same.
I agree with that.
I think the protests I think they're necessary. I do. I mean, and I support that completely. And the riots, I completely condemn the riots. And I hate what happened to George, and I think it was terrible. And I'm glad that it seems like we're moving towards justice being served, and I hope that it does get served. And anything on the Boogaloo didn't mean any offense to anybody. I hope, if anything, you listen to that and you're like, you know what? They raised some pretty good thoughts there. Yep. Maybe I need to get more prepared. If it's something that I am that passionate about, I need to get more prepared. So that's kind of the point of it. I thought it'd be a good discussion with the craziness going on right now. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you if you believe in aliens or ghosts or you anything. And again, like
specifically the aliens.
Yes, yeah. Let us know your thoughts. Shoot me a message. Shoot Brent a message. Anything there. Let us know. So, guys, hope y'all enjoyed it. It's been fun. Yeah, and Brent, until next time.
Yep. Peace out, brother.
All right, man. Thank y'all.